This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so we're picking up in the Sefaria 4476. Okay, and we're discussing different aspects of life and what is the appropriate bitachon to have in those areas of life. Uperish chelek harevi'i. So the fourth chelek portion of aspect of our life, binyanei chovat halavavot, that is in regard to the obligations of our hearts, as in this book, chovat halavavot, duties of the hearts, v'ha'evarim, and our limbs, meaning that which is supposed to feel and think, and that which is supposed to do. Sha'adam mityached b'to'alatan v'nizkan. These are the things that affect a person themselves. Ha'adam mityached, the person is alone in the to'elet, in the gains that one gains, uvenizkan, or in the damage that's caused by non-adherence. Vizeh, for example, Kitsom, fast days, tefillah, prayer, sukkah, lulav, tzitzit, shmirat Shabbat, Sabbath observance, v'moadim, holiday observance, v'himana min averot, and not doing the things that we are not supposed to do, refraining from averot, from transgressions, v'chol chovat halavavot, and all of the duties of the hearts, the beliefs, the feelings, asher lo ta'avorna el zulato, that doesn't get passed on to anyone else. V'to'alatan, v'nizakan, and any benefit or any harm, miyuchadot bo, is singularly applies to that person. Mibli shar b'nei adam, no one else is involved. V'ofaneh, so now he'll explain the proper pathway, Yosher habitachon, of the proper straight trust, bekulam, in all of these aspects. Allelukim yibarach, on God blessed is He. Mashim averato, I will now explain it to you. He says, Ume'elukim esh'al, and from God I request, I hope, I supplicate, lo rototi, to guide me ha'emet, in the true way, birachamav. God, with your compassion, lead me in the proper path. V'hu, and as I see it, it is as follows. Ki ma'aseh ha'avodah v'aveira lo yitchenu l'adam ki im bikabetz shlosha dvarim. Anything that we do comes about as a result of three stages. Ha'echad, first, habichira b'libo b'matzmono, the decision, the choice. I choose to do this in my heart, in my inside, in my mind, in my conscience. I have a decision. Yes, I choose to do this. Vasheni, secondly, hakavana v'askama la'asot ma shebachar bo. Okay, now I'm going to actually implement it, right? I want to lose weight, but I really like the jelly donuts. That's the problem, Hanukkah time, right? So I have to decide this is a value, this is what I want, and I have to decide, and yes, I'm going to do it. V'hashlishi, and thirdly, sheyishtadel ligmor ha'maaseh, to actually make it happen. So there is the thought that this is a positive or a negative that I want to stay away from. I want to fulfill it, and taking the steps to actually implement it. Ligmor hamasa, to complete that action. Ve'evarav hanirim, with the visible, with our limbs. V'yotziu el geder hamasa, and turn it into action. Right? So there's the decision, there's the plan, there is the action. Uma she'eno ne'elam mimenu bahem. Now, that which is not withheld from you, kibichirat ha'avodah v'aveira v'akavana v'askama ala ma'aseh, what's completely in your hands, meaning you don't need to, God help me. No. Right? The decision, how do we put it before? Right? The value, the decision to do it, and then the implementation. So those first two steps, kebechira, this is something that I choose to do, and I'm going haskama lamasa, and I'm going to do it. Habitachon al elokim bazeh. If a person is putting his trust in God for this, God, make me want to do it. Make me decide to do it. Help me to decide to do it. Help me to decide to implement it. Ta'ut, that is an error. V'sichlut, and that's foolishness. Ki abore yitbarach, the Creator, hiniach birshutenu, He put that into our domain. Bichirat avodato, the decision to choose to do His avoda, His service. V'hamroto, or to choose to not do, to go against it. Kamo shekatuv, as the pasuk says, ubacharta bachayim, a very, very beautiful and famous pasuk. Choose life. Right? We always say Judaism is a religion of life. We don't glorify death. We don't look to die as martyrs. If we have to, we will. But we choose to live as martyrs. That's what we want to do. We don't want to die kadosh. We want to live kadosh. And when the time comes, okay, so then it'll be time to go. And if it means giving up our life, we will. But that we're not a religion. We're not that glorifies death. Ubacharta b'chayim. So God tells us, you've got to choose life. That's not for me to program you. That's not for me to put it there. Ubacharta b'chayim. You choose life. Below hiniach birshutenu. So therefore, to decide this is, yes, I do want to give tzedakah. Yes, I'm going to give tzedakah. All of that is in our hands. All of that is for us to do. All v'lo yiniach birshutenu hashlamat ha'maseh ba'avodah u'ba'aveira. However, the area where we should have bitachon, trust in Hashem, and to reach out to Hashem is when it comes to actually fulfilling it, right? Give me the ability to do this, right? I want to help people. Help me find the right opportunities. Yes, it's a value. Yes, I'm ready to do it. Help me find the right opportunities. Let me be able to. Let me be able to do it. These are sibot shehein chutz lanu. These are things that are external to us. It depends on factors, on situations, on people that is external to us. Mizdamnot biktzat ha'itim. Sometimes the availability is there. V'nimnaot biktzatan. And sometimes we don't have the ability to do it. So that is where we would reach out to Hashem in that area. V'im yivtach al Elokim b'bchirat ha'avodato. Right? If, though, in the first two categories, we're putting our trust in God in choosing to do that service. The Yomar saying, Lo evchar, v'lo echavein la'asot klum, me'avodot haborei. I'm not going to choose to do so, or I'm not going to prepare myself to fulfill any aspects of serving God, ad sheyivchar li atov mimena, until God will put into my heart this ability to choose that which is right in His eyes. If the person is doing that, kvar ta'ah, the person has already strayed, let's say, miderech hayishara, from the straight path, uma'ado raglav, and one has misguided one's steps, me'ofanei hanichona, from the proper path. Ki abori barach, because the Creator, kvar tzivanu, He already told us it's in your hands. He already commanded us, livchor, to choose, b'masa avodah, to choose acts of service to Hashem, to God, ulechavein eleha, v'hishtadlut, and to guide ourselves, to aim ourselves towards that with efforts that we make, v'haskama, to do that with ubelev shalem, to decide and to do with in a full-hearted manner, lishma gadol, right? And to have the intent, the focus, that I'm not doing this for the honor that I'm going to get. I'm not doing this because now someone will owe me in return, and therefore I'll get back for all this. It's not an investment. It's not even I'm doing this in order that God will give me paradise in the world to come. But I'm doing it lishmo hagado. I'm doing it for the sake of His great name. V'hodianu, and He's let us know, shehu ofanei hanichona lanu ba'olam hazeh u'ba'olam haba. And this is the path that one needs to take, be it in this world or the next world, to have that intent. So therefore, right, those areas of Bechira, that's already been made very clear to us. V'im yizdamnu hasibot, and if the opportunities, the means will become available to us, v'yitachein gemar ha'maaseh b'avodato, and one will be able to complete the actions in their service. Asher kadma b'chirateinu ba, that which we preceded with our choice, our decision. Yeh lanu aschar gadol, then we will have the tremendous reward. Al ha'b'chira ba'avodah, on the decision. Yes, this is what I would want to do. This is something that I am going to do. And on my actually doing it. So there is this trifold aspect and reward that a person will get on making the decision, on choosing it, on deciding to do it, and on actually doing it. Ve'im yimaneh min ha'evarim gemar ha'ma'aseh, and if, for whatever reason, it will be withheld from a person the ability to fully complete it, to implement it, yelanu schar b'chira v'hakavana, one will get the schar for the decision and for the intent. Kasher zacharnu, as we mentioned earlier, v'cheina onesh ala aveira, and so too on the negative side. I decide I'm going to, right, I choose to do something bad. I decide I'm going to actually do it. And then I go ahead and do it. Right? Also, we have these three steps, these three stages. What's strange to me is that the Gemara adds on a layer that he doesn't seem to include. And the Gemara tells us that if I decide to do something, machshava tova, a good thought, a good intent, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, God, mitzarfo lema'aseh, He brings it together into an action. Meaning, if I decided to do something and I'm all ready to do something, but I'm unable to do so, it's considered as if I've done it. If I've done everything, because it makes sense. I can't control. There's an older person getting onto the bus, and I decide I'm going to give that person my seat. And I'm already starting to stand up, just waiting for the person to get close. And then a person 4 rows ahead of me gives that elderly person the seat. So I had decided, I was ready to do it. I was all set, but I didn't have the opportunity to actually put it into play. But that was external to myself. Anything that I could do, I did. So there, the Gemara says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu considers it as if it was done. But on the other side, if I decide I'm going to trip that old lady, and I'm all ready, and I'm starting to stick my foot out into the aisle, and then someone else trips her before me, or someone else gives her a seat, so I don't get to trip her. So
You're guilty.
there, I'm responsible for the thought and the planned implementation, but it's not considered as if I actually tripped her. So machshava tova, a good thought, God considers it as if it's done. A machshava ra'ah, and a malevolent intent, that's not considered as if it is done. So I'm
Really?
not sure. I'm sorry?
I said, really? I would have thought it would have been both ways.
Yeah, so in general, Robin, we have a general rule that the midah of tova, the midah of good, right, far
Measure.
overwhelms, far outweighs the midah of ra. I think in the Ten Commandments we say that a person's chesed will work for 2,000 generations, right? That merit, but a person's evil actions can affect up to 4 generations.
Oh,
Actually, we do the math, so it's a 500 to 1 ratio, right? 4 to 2,000, 1 to 500. So we say the midah of tova is 500 times greater than the midah of ra'ah. That's why
it doesn't matter how raw it is.
I'm not sure. That's
Oh,
interesting.
I was just thinking of like real bad. I mean,
Yeah,
but that's nice to know.
yeah. And the Ramchal, when he speaks about the different stages of life that we have in his Derech Hashem, in the what's the English name for that? The way of God. Okay, the English translation, the Derech Hashem. So he explains that we have Olam Hazeh, we have this world, which is a world of preparation, and we have Olam Haba, the world to come, which is the world of receiving. And this
So like
is toil, that is the benefit. And you look at this is a very limited time period of toil. And the second stage, the Olam Haba, the world to come, is an eternal. And that fits into this general equation that we have of the Midah Tova being far greater than the Midah of Ra'ah.
I was just thinking of someone like Hitler, and I couldn't imagine like not getting the punishment, or not the punishment, but the
So we're not talking about how long the person will receive reward or punishment for his actions. We're talking about the effect that it will have on the generations after him,
okay,
right? So
yeah,
any good thing that we do will be a merit that will stand for 2,000
yeah,
generations from us,
okay. I'll
right?
keep doing good. I'll keep doing
Right?
good.
But yeah, but whatever we do or don't do, positive, negative, that is ours basically forever. Though we do believe that, except for some extreme examples like the individual that you mentioned, that a person can go through a cleansing, a purification process after passing away, and that will then enable the person to then bask in the glow and the embrace of Hashem,
Okay.
right? And that's what we call the Gehenna, the hell that we speak about, which actually is a time of distancing from Hashem, not having that closeness that we so crave and fully crave and understand that desire once we are no longer in our physical shell in the physical world. Yeah. Okay. Vahefresh. And the difference. Shebein avodas habore v'shar masei ha'olam b'inyan bitachon be'elokim. So we have this very big difference now between the bitachon that we're supposed to have in Hashem, the trust, the faith in Hashem, when it comes to ma'asei ha'olam, when it comes to the world, right? Our worldly dealings and our spiritual dealings. Between Avodah Habare, serving God, spiritual dealings, and Shar Masei Olam, the other worldly pursuits. So the difference between that we have this difference in how we're supposed to approach it, we'll explain as follows. Sheshar Minyan Olam, other our worldly, physical, material pursuits. Lo niglu lanu ofanei hatov hara b'siba min hasibot mibaladei she'eritam. It's not clear to us which means is better, more beneficial, more effective than other means. V'lo afani have said v'arabik tzatam biltik tzatam. Or which of the means will lead to unfortunate consequences and results. That we don't know. That is not revealed to us. Ki lo amadnu al eiz malacha min hamalachot shetov lanu v'yoter ru'uya levakashat hateref v'abriyut v'hatov. Right? It's never clear to us which pathway will be best for our sustenance, our health. Below the Eza Schora, right? Which merchandise should I invest in? Which stocks should I buy? Right? Do I go all in on Bitcoin? Right? So we don't know. Right? Ube'eza derech, ube'eza mas min ha'masim ha'olamiyim, right? And which pathway and which actions amongst the worldly pursuits, natzliach, will we have our hatzlacha, will we have our success, kushin galgel bahem, when we will involve ourselves in them. Umin adin aleinu, and therefore there the bitachon that's incumbent upon us, as shenivtach be'elokim b'bichiratenu v'ashlamata lazreinu kol ma sheyesh bo tovatenu. So there we trust that we're going to make our good, strong effort. We're going to make our best decision. We're going to work and live with honesty, with integrity. We're going to work hard. And God will trust that God will bring us bracha through that. Because as we learned before, we recognize that it's not really the pursuit, the parnasa, that brings us the bracha. Otherwise, it's God that brings it. But it's through the medium of the parnasa. So there we have to have our bitachon. We're going to make our best call. We're going to decide to do something that fits us, that fits our personalities, that fits our physical abilities, that fits the abilities that God has given us to best utilize those abilities. That's what I'm going to do. And the parnasa will come. Hashem will send us what we need. Once we get involved in that, and we will pray to God, la'ir levavenu, right, to arouse our hearts, lebichirat hatova v'riyalo lanu mihem, that will make the right choice in what we will do, what profession we will choose, and how we will deal with that. So there, we're asking God to help us make the right choice, and we have that trust that as long as we are doing this with integrity, God will guide us properly. So there, our bitachon stretches into the choice of action that we're going to do, because it's not clear what choice is beneficial and what choice will be detrimental. Aval avodat habori barach, when it comes to the decisions, the pathways of serving God, einenu kain. There, that's not the case. God has already showed us the right path that we're supposed to go on. That is our Torah. V'tzivanu livchor ba, and He commanded us to choose that. V'ya'ed otanu bigmul, and He guarantees us that there will be reward for that. Allah for that. V'nitchanein alav v'chirata. Right? And if we will plead with God about the decisions that we're making, right? Once again, if we're going to plead with God when it comes, help us, right? Let me make the right choice. Let me choose the right thing and trust in God that God will certainly show me the right path. Been there, done that. Niyatoim. A person is once again erring, straying. Bidvarenu. V'sichlim v'vitchonenu. And he's being foolish in this bitachon. Meshekvar kadma hodato otanu darchei avoda. God already told us, clearly delineated for us, darchei ha'avoda, the pathway of avoda. Asher yo'ilanu ba'olam hazeh, that will be beneficial, uplifting for us in this world, ubaba, and the world to come. Kamosh Amar, as it says, Bigmul Olam Hazeh, when it comes to the Gemul, the recompense, even in this world, Vayitzaveinu Hashem Lasot, God has commanded us, Lasot Kol HaChukim Ha'ela, to do all of these ordinances, Li'ira'at Hashem Elokeinu, to fear, be in awe of Hashem our God, Latov Lanu Kol Hayamim, in order that it'll be good for us in all of our days, right? So therefore, if God is the one who puts into our heart the decision, then it's not us, and there is no reward for that, right? You know, I'm not going to get rewarded for breathing, 40, 50, 60 breaths every minute, right? That's just what I do. And if God would have programmed us that we're automatically going to do good, right? The same way that my heart is beating, thank God, right? If God would program me to do good, then there's no reward for that. The reward is when we transform ourselves through the decisions that we make. And when it's an easy decision, then it's a minor transformation. When it's a more difficult decision, then it is a major transformation that we go through. V'amar, and it says b'gmul, when it comes to the gemul, the recompense of olam haba, the world to come, utzdaka tiyeh lanu, and there will be this tzedakah given to us, ki nishmor la'asot, when we choose to do. So that's why we have this very fundamental difference that when it comes to the worldly matters, we have our bitachon that will make the right, that will choose well. But over here, we don't rely on our God that'll help us choose well. He already told us what to choose, and now it's for us to make that choice. V'od, and furthermore, kinyanei olam, when it comes to the worldly matters, yesh shetashuva siba hameshubachat megune, v'meguna meshubachat. When it comes to worldly matters, sometimes something that was a good choice becomes a very bad choice. And something that was a very bad choice becomes actually a very good choice. It really is arbitrary. For some people, this works well. For others, it's catastrophic, right? So each, for different people, it's different things. And even one person, different thing or the same thing, at times is beneficial. At times, it is ill-advised. So that's why we need to rely on Hashem and have the bitachon. Acha avodah, when it comes to the service of Hashem, the mitzvot, va'aveira, and the don'ts, the transgressions, Eino kain, that's not the case. Ki amuguna v'mushubach mehen lo yiatek me'inyano v'lo yitchalef la'olam. Right? Something that's, the mitzvah never becomes something bad. The avera never becomes something that is good. This is a chok la'olam. These are laws that are eternal, right? And that's, that is the idea of the Torah being inviolable, right? It's not, just when, right? There's a teaching that the luchot, the tablets that Moshe brought down from Har Sinai, so the wording was charut, engraved into the luchot. But it wasn't just engraved onto the tablets, like think of a stone in a cemetery. It was engraved right through the tablets. Now we know if something is, and the Gemara talks about there are certain letters like the mem and the samach of the luchot, so those are completely encircled. The samach is a circle, the mem is more like a square, but it's completely encircled. So the Gemara says, the Talmud says that the middle part, the middle circle, right, when you engrave through, the middle part of the mem and the samach luchot, benes hayu omdin. It stood there miraculously because it wasn't attached to the sides. But also it says, no matter which, if you read it from the front or from the back, you're reading it the same way. Now we know if you engrave something, then when you read it from the back, it's backwards. But here, there was this miracle that no matter where you read it from, it read correctly. So, this is not a sound and light show, right? So why is God making this miracle that it's read the same way from any angle, whatever angle it is? And an explanation that's given is because we have to recognize that the Torah, from wherever you're coming at it, it's not going to change, right? This is the words of God. These are the instructions of God. He knew that there would be all that has transpired. He knew the world would be as it is now in 2024, almost 2025. There's no surprises, and the Torah that he gave us is for all times, right? And that is why, that's the second reason that he gives why when it comes to the Parnasa, there we ask God and we have our trust that God will help us choose that which is right, because what might be right for you is not right for me, and what's right for me today might not be right for me tomorrow. It's a moving target, and therefore the bitachon is appropriate. When it comes to the Torah, when it comes to the mitzvot, what's good is good, what's bad is bad, and that remains throughout all times and all situations. Not that the halacha doesn't allow for situations, meaning, on Shabbat, we are supposed to do whatever we can do to save a person's life, and the laws of Shabbat get suspended. But that's not, that is and always was the case. That Shabbat is not something that we lose a life over. So that's not a suspension of the Torah. That's the Torah having this built-in override for certain situations. The pasuk says, "V'chai bahem," you shall live by them, and therefore living, staying alive, overrides other things. So in Nebuch, in the concentration camps, they weren't looking for hechshers, for kosher certification on the food that they were eating. They had to stay alive and do their best to keep the Jewish people going, right, for another generation after them. Okay, I think we have a good place to pause over here. Where are we in Sefaria, my friends?
I have it as would be 4486.
So we're up to 486?
Correct.
Nice. Okay. So that's where we're usually at, about 10
Mhm.
Sefarias a week. Okay. Good seeing you both. We'll let Melvin and Marta know that they were missed. Okay. Be well, and Kathy, much strength to you. I hope you're able to make it through all this as well as you can. Okay.
Are you having
Be
lunch
well.
and learn on Thursday?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, because I'm off for a couple weeks from school, so I might be able to. I'm going to see if I can try to
Nice.
come either this one or the next.
Okay. Great. It'll be great to see you in person.
Thanks.
Okay. Be well, guys. Good
Bye
night.
bye. Bye, Kat. Bye.